And for the record, Daryl Perry, CEO of Lobby LLC. I've got a couple of questions about the fee structure. If you look on page 2, which is numbered at the top, generally it's at the bottom, lines 4 through 7, it mentions a residence percentage, but yet when you get down to line 26, where it talks about the registration fee, or rather, in addition to the registration fee, which I think is rather high, there's a 5% tax of the fantasy sports, gross fantasy sports revenues. It doesn't say a residence percentage, so this could lead me to the conclusion that it's 5% of the total amount of money that they bring in worldwide would then go to some New Hampshire regulator for the purpose of they're doing some business here, but give us 5% of everything you bring in. So a little confusing there, and that was actually pointed out to me by someone in the industry, not someone from FanDuel or DraftKings, which are probably the two best known daily fantasy sports. And I believe that this bill is in response to some of the determinations by attorneys general across the country that daily fantasy sports is akin to gambling, and so therefore needs to be shut down. But somehow, if you're doing a fantasy sports league for the entire season and money's on the line, that's not gambling, but it seems kind of strange to me the way they make these determinations. If you look on page 1, line 27, where it defines highly experienced player, unless they're going to be complying with AML and KYC, I don't see how they would necessarily know if I have participated in 1,000 fantasy contests under 5 different email addresses, or if that's just been 5 different people that did 200 fantasy contests each. So there might be some loopholes to where someone that is a highly experienced player could wind up never being classified as such by one of these entities. Some of the other terms that are confusing is not necessarily the right word, but rather broad and vague. If you look on page 3, line 21, at what would be RSA 287-H:3, Roman I, D, says that provided that no winning outcome is based on the score, point spread, or performance of any single actual sports team, or the combination of sports teams, or solely on any single performance of an individual athlete. Well, I play in a fantasy sports league, not for money, but let's assume that money was involved. And in that league, you have a head coach. And if the team, and let's just say that I have the Patriots head coach.
Good pick.
If the Patriots wind up winning, I get 10 points. If the point spread between me beating the team that I'm going head-to-head against is less than 10, would that league then be in violation of this, because it then determined is based on the outcome of a single team or a single player? So this seems to be a little broad, and I don't think it's intended to be. But when you start trying to regulate and say this, constitutes gambling and this doesn't constitute gambling, then you do run into these sort of aspects here. If you jump down to H3 sub or Roman numeral 3, which I believe is on the next page, it could be construed to where it says that you can't have a contest based on collegiate athletic events. If I fill out a March Madness bracket and put $20 down for it, am I violating the law? Is the operator of that March Madness contest violating the law because something is based on the outcome of a collegiate athletic event? Again, I don't think the intent here is to ban people from filling out March Madness brackets and putting $20 on it but it certainly seems to be that something that would be illegal should this pass. And while I've had people in the industry say that this is better, and they're using air quotes there, I think what they really mean is less bad, than an outright prohibition. The fees are high, and it could actually wind up prohibiting a lot of fantasy sports that currently exist. It could wind up prohibiting some fantasy sports contests that haven't yet been thought of. I believe that a much better bill would be HB562, which was retained by the House Ways and Means Committee. HB562, for the record, would just exempt online gambling from all other gambling offenses. And that would, by default, say that online fantasy sports are completely legal. There would not be this onerous regulation being put in place, just that nobody's going to be charged for the gambling offense for doing online gambling. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Carol, thank you for your testimony. I appreciate it. Senators, any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.